た時代ですね、ラーメンの屋台に長い行列ができてたのを見たんですね。で、安藤百福は、家庭でも簡単に食べられるラーメンがあればどんなに喜ばれるだろうと、そういうふうに感じたんですね。
Ando's invention was the world's very first instant noodle, today a household staple. Nearly 100 billion meals of instant ramen are consumed worldwide every year. One reason for this success is that instant ramen adapts easily to the local palate. There are regional variations that cater to the tastes of each country, with flavors as exotic as kimchi and cheese curry.
例えばヨーロッパですと、麺をすすりませんので、すすらない代わりに麺の長さが短くなってまして、スープ感覚でお召し上がりいただけると、そういう作りになっています。
The permutations of ramen seem limitless, and the Japanese have taken it further than ever. You don't even need to be on planet Earth to savor a bowl. Enter the gravity-defying space ramen. It was made to celebrate astronaut Soichi Noguchi's trip on the space shuttle Discovery.
宇宙空間では麺もスープも無重力で飛び散ってしまいますので、それを飛び散らないように麺は、形状を保持したまま、柔らかく戻る。それからスープはとろみがついてまして、フォークで簡単にパクッと麺もスープも一緒に食べていただける、そういう形になっております。
Ramen is the ultimate Japanese comfort food, and it attracts a fan base as diverse as its flavors.
Ramen is one of those foods that everybody can eat, from elites to worker, the student, children. There's so much that can be said in a bowl of ramen because it's everybody's food.
In fact, one man has come to Japan from the other side of the world to pursue his ramen dream. Immortalized in a Japanese comic strip is culinary superhero Ivan Orkin, the first American chef to open a ramen restaurant in Tokyo. Ivan was determined to make his name cooking his favorite dish, but he was up against some very daunting odds.
And it's very scary. I mean, you know, serving ramen to the most sophisticated ramen eaters in the world on their home turf was a really, you know, challenging thing to do. You know, I don't know how to make it, so I'd have to figure out how to do the whole thing from scratch. I sort of wanted that challenge. I had so much to prove. You know, I mean, this American guy having the audacity to open a ramen shop in the middle of Tokyo, everything said I would fail, really.
Ivan has an extensive background in Western cuisine. He trained at the Culinary Institute of America and worked with some revered chefs, including Andre Saltner and Bobby Flay. His Western training means he approaches ramen differently from Japanese chefs. He's even come up with oven-roasted tomatoes as a topping for his noodles.
The people who are helping me plan this place said, you know, you don't need an oven, it's stupid. And I said, you know, I will have an oven. That's just how I think. That's how I was trained. It's how my brain works. I'm adding my shio tare, which is my base flavoring, and some fat, because ramen doesn't taste good without it.
Although Ivan has an unconventional approach to ramen, he insists on one thing: making his ramen taste authentically Japanese. He knew early on that his biggest obstacle would be the public's preconception of an American in a Japanese kitchen.
That's the final dish. And that was my biggest fear, you know, that I wouldn't be taken seriously, especially because I'm an American. I was very sensitive to not serving anything that could be interpreted as an American ramen. I really didn't want... I knew that people would be scrutinizing me, and I knew that people would say, well, it's very good, but, you know, it's not ramen.
After years of groundwork, Ivan chose this suburb of Tokyo for his first ramen restaurant and crossed his fingers.
友達が知ってたんで、はい、ついてきました。今日は醤油全のせラーメンです。味はあっさり、はい、他のラーメンと比べるともううまいですね。はい。
Ivan may not be Japanese, but he prepares his food with their trademark passion.
One of the reasons my shop is successful is because I really give a good dose of love into all my food. And I think that people who really like to cook put love in their food. And I think that's what differentiates all mediocre places and extraordinary places. All right, so we get the 46 seconds. I tried 47 and I tried 45, and 46 was the best.
Rush hour in Japan is the stuff of legend. Every day, 3 million people take the train into Tokyo. The average commuter spends over an hour crammed into the sardine cans of the Japanese railway. It's a grueling daily chore and a way of life in urban Japan. But there's one thing that makes train travel a little more bearable. The bento.
There's a wonderful tradition in relatively modern Japan, which is the ekibento, and that means station lunchbox. These are lunchboxes that are prepared at local stations and eaten as train food. There are wonderful train rides that people take expressly to get the bento at the stops where they are famous.
日本人にとっては駅弁と旅と思い出を離れられないような距離があるみたいですよね。
はい、今日は牛めし弁当を買いました。卵がついてるのが美味しそうだなと思って新幹線に乗るときにいつもどうしても駅弁が食べたくなるんですよね。なんでかわからないんですけど、でいつも選ぶのも楽しいので、はい、いつもなんか買って新幹線で食べてます。
The ekibento phenomenon is even captured in a comic strip about a man who travels the land sampling different train station bentos. Eating your way through the country has become a long-standing tradition.
これは大人の駅弁グランプリでこれですね。バランスも取れてて美味しいです。
However, bento is not just about a portable gourmet treat. It also has a deeper meaning. The aijo bento, or love bento, describes the bento made for a loved one, a child, a husband, or even a high school crush. Bentos can be an expression of love, the ultimate edible affection.
ピーマンがいいの？かぼちゃ？鮭こっちを。おにぎりが好きです。はい。おにぎりが一番好きです。子供ができてから添加物とか入ったものを結構外に出たら多いので、自分で作ったお弁当を持って一緒に行ったら食べやすいしいいので、はい。
The home-cooked bento is something very special in Japan. It's really about the epitomization of the mother in the child's life. And to make the best bento for her child, she wants to incorporate a lot of herself. So the bento is like the perfect microcosm of the mother's love.
Naho Matsui is a devoted bento-making mother. She raised her 5 children on a diet of homemade box lunches, and even now that they're teenagers, she still fulfills her motherly duties. With a full-time job, Matsui has barely half an hour each morning to prepare her family's bentos. That's up to 7 full meals every day. It's a skill she's fine-tuned over 2 decades in the kitchen, with the help of her mother.
今日は何分作るか。5人おにぎりいくつにしますか？
With their huge family, they go through a 30-kilogram bag of rice each month and buy groceries by the boxful. In spite of today's world of quick conveniences, there are no shortcuts in Matsui's kitchen. These bentos not only fill hungry stomachs, they also delight the senses.
開けた時にね、赤があって黄色があってね、卵の黄色と人参の赤と、それからお野菜の青と、それから煮物の茶色とか、開けた時にああ綺麗だなって食欲が増すようにみんな入れるわけ。
As with all Japanese food, it boils down to kodawari, the care and attention to detail in every meal, whether it's made by a chef or a housewife.
Kodawari is expressed in particular foodways in Japan. If you're making a bento, then you do want every section of the box, every frame, to contain the best possible things. Even the things that are hidden from view must be perfect.
Even in mass-market bentos, each item is packed in precisely the right way. From the industrial kitchen to the humble home, kodawari exists on every level.
Hai. ということでおしまいです。お弁当よ。はい。いってらっしゃい。
Thanks to kodawari, even something as commonplace as a takeaway lunch is a carrier of tradition. Made with care, devotion, and passion, the bento, the much-beloved edible expression of Japanese values. In Japan, foodies devote their lives to creating picture-perfect meals.
これは溶けない。ずーっと溶けないで入れます。
But there's one thing that sets this kitchen apart from the rest.
これ一応本物から型取ったみたいなんですけど、こういうのがいたんでしょうね。すごいですね。
The food here is made of plastic. Restaurants use them to entice customers, but they're also coveted collector's items. They make molds from the finest real ingredients, so the shape is completely realistic. Even if their food will never be eaten, these artisans refuse to stop short of perfection.
こちらのお肉なんですけれども、網目はすべて手作業で描いていきます。太い部分は筆で描きます。細い部分は竹串でやっていきます。
This passion for fake food also applies to the real deal. Japan is known to produce some of the finest real ingredients in the world, one of which is the famous Wagyu beef.
It is absolutely delicious. The taste of Wagyu, to me, speaks of Japan, partly because the marbling, the fat versus meat content is extremely subtly worked. The mingling of the fat and the flesh to the absolute perfect degree is just sublime. It's a real good example of this kodawari principle of perfectionism.
Wagyu, meaning our cow, refers to a highly prized bloodline of cattle bred in Japan. Genetically fine-tuned to produce the tastiest meat, these cows have become living icons of the Japanese countryside.
家族同様な扱いをしてたんですね。春になると牛が田んぼを起こしてくれるんですよ。秋になればまた米を運んだりとか